Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Resident Rulebreakers. I'm Kayla.
And I'm Camille.
And on today's podcast, we're going to be discussing Family Affair, which is episode 108, directed by Thomas Carter. The teleplay was by Nkechi, Carroll, and Zach Katsky. And you might recognize Nkechi because she wrote another episode that we've previously discussed. And she's also the showrunner of All American on the CW.
Yep.
And then the story was done by Kevin Falls, who wrote the episode that we discussed last week, 107. So, but before we go into the podcast, we want to wish Amy Holden Jones, the show's co-creator, co-executive producer, writer, everything, a very happy belated birthday.
Happy birthday.
And also the death of Ruth Bader Ginsburg this past Friday. We just wanted to mention that we are very saddened. It's not shocking per se because she was fighting pancreatic cancer.
Yeah.
But the fact is her death leaves a gaping hole in our Supreme Court and in the fight for women's rights.
Yes, she's a champion for women's rights and stuff. So it's the world lost a good one.
Yes. So in lieu of that, we dedicate this podcast to her.
Yep.
And she died on the first day of Rosh Hashanah, and since she was Jewish, what was the term you've used?
It's Tzadik, Tzaddik, which means greatness. Anyone who dies during Rosh Hashanah, they're destined for greatness. It's supposed to say that they're great people. So, and I think that is what she was. She lived as a great person, and she changed the world for the better and stuff like that. So she obviously became a Supreme Court Justice in 93 under Bill Clinton's reign and stuff. So I'm sad.
Yeah.
We're now living in uncertain times because we're all like, okay, who's going to win the presidency? And the presidency is supposed to determine who will replace Ruth and stuff. And so we got to go out there and vote.
Yes, please, guys, go vote. Make your voice heard.
Yep.
Because we all have the right to vote, and we need to use it.
Yep.
In this year more than ever before.
Yep.
Anyways, and then before we dive into our discussion, on Sunday, I posted a post about our 2-week break that we're going to be taking at the beginning of October. For various reasons, Camille and I discussed this, and we've put out a podcast every week since the end of April. And and that includes all the interviews, that includes everything. And not that we're not grateful, but it's become exhausting to us, especially with health issues like Camille with the bone infection. I work full-time, and I've been working more than full-time at the most recent month or two. And still doing this on the weekends. And I do all the graphics, I do all the editing, so it takes a lot of my time to do this. So please understand that I'm exhausted.
We're both exhausted.
We're exhausted. So this break is to give us personal time. We're still the social media will not take a break. We will still be posting old clips of old interviews that have closed captions on them for the hard of hearing and deaf community that have asked us to post these.
Yeah, we found an app that will allow closed captioning for the videos that we've already released and stuff. So I'm just gonna like now just start using it to closed caption the videos that we've already recorded and stuff, so that other people will be more, so it will be more inclusive, so that people, the deaf community, will have we'll be able to listen to what Malcolm, Amy, Bruce, everybody had to say about the show and stuff. So.
And I know a lot of people say, well, you can do that with YouTube. But here's the thing, the YouTube closed captions suck. And I have this really deep Southern accent and it doesn't pick it up very well. So this app does it way better. We can promise that one. So there's that. So,
sadly, it does not translate to another language, though.
So for all you foreign language fans, something we really wanted was to be able to help you, because we know that it just started in France, and a lot of the French fans, it's dubbed for them. So the show is
Latin American as well. So yeah.
So just so that. For the end of October, we will be returning for 2 weeks to celebrate Halloween. We'll be talking about Nightmares, which is 206, and Belief System, which is 304. So we'll have a 2-week Halloween special at the end of October. So we're looking forward to that. But we needed this. Plus, I'm planning on moving too, so I need time to do that.
Yay!
So we're going to be moving into our discussion. The first topic we have is Devon's parents make their introduction. And they are played by Zenobia Shroff and Brian George. You can recognize, if you're a Big Bang Theory fan, you recognize him as Raj's dad on Big Bang Theory. So there's
he's
that.
He's in a lot of shows. I always see him in a lot of shows. Like, it's crazy. I think I even saw him on a Star Trek episode.
Yeah. So there's that, but Devon is a jerk pretty much the entire episode and horrible to his parents, embarrassed by them.
Yeah.
But it takes a male escort that he's treating as a patient to talk to him about
the caste system
and how to help his parents and deal with his parents. And at the end of the episode, he actually apologizes to them. But man, if I had talked to my parents that way, I can tell you.
All I know is that what's that called? Like, the funniest to me, I like the fact that they went and crashed the party.
yeah.
That was hilarious.
And I love Mrs. Profesh was explaining to Hunter about her sari.
Yeah.
And what the meaning of the sari with the uncut cloth and everything. I love that. I love this episode. Really touched on a lot of Indian culture, and even though Devon notes that the caste system is, in his opinion, archaic and wrong,
it's still there. So
it's still there.
Each of those vibes kind of thing. Yep.
But Devon and Priya are trying to talk Devon's parents down from this huge wedding into something a little bit more intimate, which we know that they got, but they didn't actually get to have the wedding. So
I don't know. I feel so bad. I hope Devon's parents come back next season.
I would love, like, Mrs. Pravesh has shown up since this episode.
But she showed up for the wedding, right? Yep.
Yeah.
But his dad hasn't yet.
No, hasn't returned. But his dad, there's a lot of background on Devon in this episode. His dad was a New York City cab driver. He's an immigrant from India. He's self-made. All this stuff where he's worked really hard. They pay for his way through Harvard.
You know what Devon described what his parents have done to him, the more jerky he actually became during the episode. But yeah, at least he said, "I'm sorry."
Yeah, at least he apologized. So there's all that. But I did love the fact that they got to meet Conrad and Belle and, you know. But I love Devon trying to explain Lane. But I love the fact that Devon was like, no, Mubs, you can't see me. That's a HIPAA violation. Yeah. So there was all that. I really liked that. And of course there was the party, you know, they had this fundraising gala for Chastain. And you know, I think a lot of people, like Belle was there in his text the whole time, which Bruce rocked, by the way. But and then Lane, I don't think Lane really needed to exist in the episode, except for the fact that they had to keep Melena's contract.
Yeah, she wasn't really on the episode much.
She wasn't like, in the episode much, and she wasn't necessary.
Yeah, I think she only said like 2 lines.
Yeah, but they Mina was my favorite part of it because she was in that beautiful gold dress.
Yep.
That matched her skin tone, and she's like, "I'm only invited because I'm black." She's brutally honest Mina, which I miss.
Yeah. We need her back season 4. We need to, like, I feel like she has softened up too much.
I love Conrad's line where he gives pity on Mina. He says, I'd rather have a colonoscopy than attend this thing. But she really did rock the dress, and Micah seemed to like it too. So,
yeah.
We'll get into Micah in a moment, but the next topic on here is Sarah Ravenscroft, who is the Jane Doe that comes in during the first third of the episode during the gala and passes out. And there's a lot of stuff that goes into them finding out this woman has tons of money. But
yeah, she was Jane Doe at first, and like when she was Jane Doe, Belle was a jerk. He was like, you know, we don't have enough money to take care of her, kick her out. When he found out she was dropped off by Atlanta General, it was like, take her back to Atlanta General or whatever.
Yeah, and Nic found out it was Atlanta General because of a lead that she still had on her back.
Yep. And stuff.
But Belle was a hypocrite big time. Once he realized this girl could afford her medical bills, he was reaming the CEO of Atlanta General for doing the exact same thing he was planning on doing. So
Belle is all about money.
Yeah, in this season, yes, he's all about the green. So yeah, but Sarah was misdiagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia.
Yep.
Because what she had was Wegener syndrome, which affects it's an autoimmune disease that affects multiple body systems. It's really rare to show up the way that she had it in the episode, where it affects her nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a really rare form of it, where it showed up the way it did. But the way they diagnosed it with the blood and the urine and stuff, that's pretty common from what I read when I did some research on it. So, but Sarah's a daughter of a wealthy family in Savannah, Georgia, and she's a painter. And she thanks Nic at the end of the episode by promising her a painting of her very own. So there's background story on all that for just a standalone character you're never going to see again, and there's all that background story. That's why I don't like the rest of it. They give these tiny characters huge backgrounds.
But she was played by Jen Landon.
Mm-hmm.
So Guiding Light fans might remember her. Soap opera fans and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't recognize her at first.
And Mina was the one that realized that this woman had money because she had this really beautiful, expensive purse. that had her name in it. Like it's a one of a kind of deal. And
they thought that the purse was stolen until Conrad Googled the name and found out it was the same person.
Yep. So and I loved how Conrad and Nic in this episode were tag teaming this case, and they didn't really argue with each other about it. So it really was a standalone for the most part. And then there's the male escort that helped Devon realize that he needed to be nicer to his parents, who comes in because he was running from a client's husband and ran right through a plate glass door.
Yeah, he was High Rodriguez, played by High Rodriguez. But yeah, he was the male gigolo.
Yep.
But yeah, he came in there with like a shard of glass into his eye kind of thing.
Which is disgusting. The scene in itself makes you want to go, ooh, that's gross.
It's like one of my biggest fears. I told you this. I am deathly afraid of anything close to my eye. Like, literally, I don't wear mascara. I do not do eyeliner. I do not do contact lenses. Nope. Won't touch me. I don't even do eye drops.
But yeah, and then Irving was classic Irving, comedic relief for the episode. He tries to help him out at first, and then Devon's page. That's how Devon comes in, is he's paged to help Irving out. And Devon comes in, and the gigolo helps Devon, understand that he needs to be nicer to his parents. And he understands the caste system and stuff. So
yeah, he kind of knows deep down, like the guy studied Indian studies or something, and he was well aware of the history of the caste system. He knew, you could tell that Priya was in a higher caste than Devon's family and stuff. But yeah. That was
there's that part of the plot line. The next plot line and the last one we have for this episode is Micah. Micah comes into the picture again. He was in 1-2, which was Independence Day, where he got his heart transplant. And like Micah makes a joke to Mina to try to get her to come on a date with him about the theory about the theory about him getting the former
criminal's heart
person, criminal's heart.
He's gonna like all of a sudden start killing people because there's this theory that like you start developing the personality of whoever donated you your organ or whatever.
Which by the way, it's debunked, but the fact is he tried to use it to get Mina to go on a date with him, and in this episode she says, I don't date my patients, but we know that's a lie, Mina, because you dated Micah. But Micah really loved her in the gold dress and all super muddled up. Who didn't love her? Like, I have a serious girl crush.
I know. Yeah, the dress was designed by Yulin Colette Hufke. She was the costume designer for The Resident, season 1 and part of season 2. She left the show when Georgia passed anti-LGBTQ laws and stuff. So she left the show because she didn't want to work in a state that gave her and her wife took away her and her wife's rights or anything like that. So she left. But yeah, she designed that dress. And I remember when I posted screenshots of the dress, pretty much in admiration of what it looked like in Mina's body, on Charlotte's body. She said it was a work of art, and it was one of the things that she was most proud of, That dress is gorgeous. It
Gorgeous.
really was. It hugged the right curves. Did you see her butt? And she had good back muscles and everything.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so there's the background on the gold dress.
Yep.
And that's really that's the whole plot of the episode. There wasn't too much leading in from other episodes. It was very standalone. And
there was no mention of Lily, no mention of Conic or anything like that.
Nope.
Yeah.
I mean, the only Conic was the fact that they were tag teamed on this case with Sarah Ravenscroft. And Conrad noted to Sarah that Nic helped him with his decorating style. Other than that, there really wasn't any other references to their issue that they've been dealing with.
Yeah.
So before we leave, we have a few things we need to note. The Patreon. Thank you to our one and only patron, Pamela. I will get you your BTS probably in the... If I have time, like I said, I'm going to be pretty busy the following next couple of weeks. But if I have time to get it edited, you'll get your BTS of Bruce's interview. I also plan on showing you guys how I make the graphics.
Yeah. But yeah, for those who... you guys can become our patrons too. You guys get to be our patron for like
$1, and you can get you get BTS for $1. You can get if you pay more. I think the next one up is like $12, and you get a sticker with our logo on it, made by Maddie, who created it. She's Hawaiian Shirt Belle on Instagram.
Yeah.
That logo that you see everywhere, that's on those two. And then there's a shirt, there's a poster, and I think there's a coffee mug. So
yep.
Like the higher you go, the more you get, pretty much.
Yep.
But like we would love to have versions of these ourselves. We don't even have them because there's the Patreon team. When I asked them about it, they said there wasn't enough money for them to give them to us. So we would put some money on the Patreon and fund us getting versions of these items as well. Yeah.
Be like, you get a t-shirt, so do we.
So go to patreon.com/The Resident Podcast. And like we said at the beginning of the podcast, we are taking a 2-week break at the beginning of October. And then we'll be back in time for Halloween with Nightmares and Belief System.
Yep.
So,
and during those 2 weeks, though, we're going to be releasing the videos again and CC with closed captioning.
Yes.
We want to be more inclusive to the listeners and stuff. It's not fair to the deaf community to leave them out.
No, definitely not. If you want an alert when the podcast releases, you can subscribe to whatever platform you prefer. Because we're on Podbean, we're on YouTube, we're on iHeartRadio, Google Play, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. We have all these platforms for you to choose from. And there's a little subscribe button on every single one of them. Just hit the little button and you'll get an alert when the podcast releases.
Yeah. Subscribe.
Facebook, there's a page called The Resident Rulebreakers Podcast. And you can go there and you can see all our videos and stuff. Like Camille said, she's going to be hosting some stuff. So there's all that. There's a Facebook group of the Resident Fox fans. It's linked to the Facebook page. And if you're not a member, please join and answer all the questions or you will be declined.
We get a lot of behind the scenes info from several of the cast members and Amy and stuff. So
and Tim Good, who is the main editor of the show as well.
And Guy,
who's a set photographer. Yeah.
They're all like in there, so you get to kind of interact with them and stuff like that. So yeah.
And then Instagram, which is the Resident Podcast. You can go there and you can see all our posts and stuff. And so there's that. And then Camille has the Resident on Fox Fans, which when taping starts, hopefully, fingers crossed, very soon in October, when taping starts, Camille does get some BTS stuff from set. So when they start taping, we'll if it goes on social media, it'll probably be there.
We should totally ask Bruce if he's back in the United States, because we know, like, once he gets back to the United States, that means the countdown is near. But we know it's already we know it's already near, because the casting agencies have already put out, for hire for the set of the Resident, because they're looking for people to just check the temperature of people who comes on set and stuff. Another coronavirus safety precaution that the show is taking and stuff. So yeah.
Yep. And so there's that. And then mine is KB Country 37. I don't post BTS or any kind, but I can promise you can see, very rarely you'll see a photo of my dog or.
Okay, everyone on this podcast, if you're listening, coronavirus is still happening, okay? That means that you go out and you party, or you go out and don't wear a mask and social distance. You're risking coronavirus. Ignore this. Don't be stupid and think that it's a hoax, or that only 6% of the people who died are really coronavirus deaths or whatever. Please don't be COVIDiots. That's become the new hashtag.
Yeah.
Don't be COVIDiots.
And wear your mask.
Wear a mask, social distance. You want the economy to be open, fine. Best way to do that is wear a mask. Listen to scientists, okay?
And then we have our Twitter account, which is @Resident Podcast. All the same material that goes to our Facebook and Instagram. So there's that. And then we have our email. And we love getting emails, especially when they're talking about a topic we talk about on the podcast. Like last week, we got an email from a listener talking about guys sending her dick pics. Yeah, we love getting those kind of things. That means people actually listen to us.
From that. We were laughing so hard when that happened, because we were like, for those who listened to our podcast last week, we talked about the episode where the patient sent Nick a dick pic, and I was the one who was like, why would someone do that? Like, why would
the resounding answer was from most women was we don't really get it either. We did have a guy comment on our YouTube channel, thank you, there you are, that he wouldn't do it, but he's pretty much like the male ego. But you know what, get over your ego.
It's not something to be proud of. No offense. I mean, we don't send out rap pics to men.
No. So thank you for the comments. We love getting those. Please continue. So next week we are going to be discussing episode 110, which is Haunted. We discussed 1-8 today, and someone's gonna go, where's 1-9? 1-9 is Lost Love, and we've already done a podcast for it back in May when we talked about Conic Month. That's a very heavy
about the puppy
Conic episode about Lily's death. Yeah, so we'll be discussing a lot of that next week.
I think 110 is going to be a little bit hard for me to watch, because if I remember correctly, that was the neurosurgeon, right?
The neurosurgeon that was Conrad's mentor, that was seeing ghosts of her dead patients. Yes,
because I've had I have spinal bifida, and that was neurosurgery was something that I dealt with a lot.
Anyway, so until next week, I'm Kayla.
I'm Camille. Adios.
Bye, guys.